Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2, Unit 7.1 Notes, Day 2. Today we are continuing our discussion on simplifying rational expressions. Our learning target today is to be able to simplify rational functions by factoring first. Oh, wrong direction. Zooming in. So, directions say to simplify the following rational expressions if possible, and then show all your work. So, we need to look at the coefficients first. 75 divided by 125. If you don't know that, use your calculator and then make sure to switch it into a fraction. Okay, so we get 3 over 5. And now I look at my x's, who wins, the top or the bottom. The top wins, and the top wins by 4. And then look at your y's, who wins, the top or the bottom? The bottom. And the bottom wins by 2. Okay, so that's very similar to what we were doing at the beginning, or somewhere in Unit 6, where we were working with exponents. Okay? Now, for number 2, we've got polynomials. Okay? And yesterday, we were looking at which ones were the same, which ones were different, but we might have to factor first, or to write it a different way. So this one is saying x minus 4 times x minus 4. And then on the bottom, we have x minus 4 and x plus 4. And if you notice, I've got two on the top and 1 on the bottom. But when those cancel, I'm left with x minus 4 and x plus 4. And what we focused on yesterday is I can't just cancel out the x's because that's in the middle of a polynomial. To cancel polynomials, they have to be 100% exactly the same. And since they're not, that's my final answer. Okay, so for 3, I'm going to have to factor both of these. I have to see, is there a GCF? Okay, is there something that I can take out of the top? And I can take out a 2 and an x. So the 2x comes out front, and then I'm left with x minus 2. On the bottom, I can factor out a 4, and they both have x's, and the lowest one is x squared. So the 4x squared comes out front, and I'm left with x minus 3. Now I have 2 monomials, and then 2 different polynomials. So all I can do is reduce the 2x and the 4x squared. When we do that, 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, or just 2 on the bottom. The x's on the bottom win, and then on the top we have x minus 2, and then we have to keep the x minus 3 on the bottom. Okay? So if you look to see what we had before, we still have all those pieces. It's just we reduced them and we simplified them. Okay? And yeah, we're going to have to do some factoring. If you look at the x squared minus 3x minus 4, the bottom I have 2 binomials. I need to factor that. What numbers multiply to get to -4 and add to get to -3? Well, what do you think? Well, it's going to be 1 and 4, yeah, and the 4 is negative. So on the top, we have x plus 1, x minus 4. On the bottom, we have x minus 4 and x minus 1. So I have 1, 2, oh sweet, 2x minus 4s, but then the x minus 1 is different. I can only cross out ones that are 100% exactly the same. and I'm left with x plus 1 and x minus 1. Since those are not 100% exactly the same, we're done. All right. On the top, I need to take out a GCF. Between 6 and 42, I can divide them both by 6, and they have an x in common. So the 6x comes out front. 6x squared divided by 6x is just x. 42 divided by 6 is a 7, and then the x's cancel. On the bottom, I still have the 36x. I have a monomial and a monomial, so I can reduce those. The bottom wins, or 6 divided by 36 is going to be 1/6, and then the x's cancel. So this 6 is in the middle, and then on the top, we still have that x minus 7. Yeah, that x minus 7 didn't disappear. Okay. Number 6. We have the x squared minus 9. Do you guys remember how to factor that? Yeah, that's the difference of two squares. So when I break that down, it's x plus 3 and x minus 3. On the bottom, we have to think, what numbers multiply to get to 12 and add to get to 7? Well, 3 and 4. And if you're like Mr. Grice, I don't know that off the top of my head. Well, remember how we used to write down all the factors to figure that out? So this breaks down to x plus 3, x plus 4. And if we're looking at this, those are my ones that match. And then x minus 3 and x plus 4 are different. So I only cross out the ones that are exactly the same. And then we're left with x minus 3 over x plus 4. Okay, number 7. We have to factor the top. I'm looking for numbers that multiply to get to 9 and add to get to 6, and that is, yeah, 3 and 3. So this is saying x plus 3 times x plus 3. Now, on the bottom, yeah, I gotta factor this too, and the sad thing is, I can't do the shortcut. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, so I'm looking for numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add to 5. Yeah, and it's 1 and 6, and the 1 is negative. So this is where we have to split the middle term. I have 2x squared minus 1x plus, sorry, that's a 6x minus 3. Remember where we would split it? Take out the GCF of the first group, which is just an x. The GCF of the second group, which is a 3. So I have an x, a positive 3, and then we're left with 2x minus 1. 6 divided by 3, 2x minus 1. So 2x minus 1 and x plus 3. Sorry guys, I'm just going to move all this over here because that was my side work. And that's what I bring up here. 2x minus 1, x plus 3. If you notice, those are all the same. One is different. I can only cross off one pair that's the same from the top and bottom. And then I'm left with x plus 3 and 2x minus 1. Okay, number 8. Let's see if you can factor the top yourself. Go ahead and pause that video, and good luck. Okay, did you get to this part and be like, all right, I'm done. There's nothing that works. No. What do you mean no, Mr. Grice? Well, look at this x squared minus 25. It's the difference of two squares, so I can keep going. Okay, this bottom part pretty much stayed the same. There's nothing I can do. But now I'm left with 2x, and the x squared minus 25 is x plus 5 and x minus 5. Then on the bottom we have x minus 3 and x plus 5. Only two of them are the same, so those cancel, and then I'm left with 2x times x minus 5, all divided by, sorry, I don't need parentheses down there, x minus 3. And that's it. Do we have any more? Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, your homework is 7.2 practice B. Remember to show all your steps and to circle your final answers. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 7.1 Notes, Day 2. Thanks for watching.